hopefully not kill anyone. After all, there's no such thing as justifiable homicide. In contrast, though, words have the ability to give hope. The best thing about sobriety is words are made concrete with action, or beats, as the case may be. This is where Rami Matan puts words to paper and makes them into beats. His heartbeat is moving on. His words are, there is simply hope and a future. He's here now to talk about his story, his love of rap music, and combining humor with his beats to create another outlet for people to find courage without the use of Dutch courage. Rami Matan, bless us. How are you doing?
Welcome.
How's it going? Well, it's Rami Matan. And also it's I figured I would go under Koshadillz. I'm not sure here, but it's actually Rami Matan Even-esh. I'm sorry. I have to correct everyone right off the bat. I'm like, oh look, I could I'm looking at this like thing. It's pretty cool profile, pretty cool site. So here we are, and there's people here with us.
Yes, there are. They're here to admire the man behind the entity. Rami, and forgive me for mispronouncing your name, but bear in mind you have to give me a little bit of grace. It's my accent, so I have a little bit of an excuse. Tell us about your background, the past going into the present, and how you established your entity.
So just to pick people up in a little 30-second to 1 minute, elevator description, I'd say an Israeli-American hip-hop artist. I got sober in the end of July 2004. Been consistently that since for over 18 years, and have been in the music business, say since like 2008, releasing music since 2005, rapping since the late 90s, and found a huge success at just everything I do. I feel like in this past year, honestly, it's been a huge transformative year, and I travel around the world performing and making videos, and now I'm based in New York City, but I've lived in LA, Israel, and born and raised in New Jersey. So, yeah.
So 18 years.
I have 18 years, yeah.
So what's your key to long-term sobriety?
It's a great question, I think. The standard thing I could describe just in long-term sobriety is being part of the community, which is, for me, 12-step meetings and being part of, the standard stuff that doesn't make you exempt. I think success in your personal career is due to, being. Cool thing about sobriety is that everyone's most likely doing the same thing, whether they make, $10,000 a year or $1 million. You're kind of all subscribing to the same idea of self-development and working on. For me, I know for sure, like I try to separate those two worlds when I go in there, and I try to really be Rami. I don't want to be my stage name because I'm trying to take the stage off of me.
Clever thinking.
For me, that's really important because I've lost a lot of relationships by just being the person that works and performs, and then bringing that into my personal life. No one to. So that's I think that's key for me right currently. That's like definitely what I'm working on. In my own personal life.
And
Rami, if you don't.
He's out there on those streets hustling. I mean, you are really killing it. Like you're out there every day, just busting beats and rhymes. And I mean, is this stuff that you come up with on a daily, or do you just throw this stuff out like freestyle?
I assume that you're talking about street performing. Street performing is all improv stuff. So,
wow.
That's just like what I've been doing the past 2 years in New York City. I'm not honestly out there every day right now, but I do appreciate the sentiment, maybe because the videos, I might be posting them every day, but but I'm definitely not out there every day for sure.
You're working hard though. You're working hard. That's awesome.
And I appreciate the people that acknowledge hard work, but like sometimes hard work doesn't necessarily is always a good thing. So I feel like I'm trying to redirect what people get enthusiastic from. Maybe it's because not everyone comes into working hard or finds the same definition of working hard. I think I do the bare minimum, honestly, I think, for going to work. I mean, if you're out there for 2 hours, but it looks grueling, I think other people work, way more efficient. And that's sort of what I'm into doing. I think, recovery wise, efficient working would be, maybe instead of going to recovery meetings all the time, maybe like late, maybe just doing two of them solid with no distractions. And
Mm.
and I think that's where I'm at in my life now. I've done like, oh, I work so hard and hard work, but hard work doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't. I don't think it ever deserves a reward because I don't. I just assume that's something you're supposed to do in general. If you
Yeah.
want something, no one ever went to the gym and got ab muscles by not
Yeah.
eating properly, going, and not when you didn't want to do it, only when you want to do it. So
Mhm.
I would like to accept the compliment, but I also, pose the question. I'm like, well, what is hard work, And I think
Mhm.
for me is now doing the things I don't want to do. For me, honestly, performing on the street's kind of easy. It's just like a fallback thing. For me now,
Mm.
it's like make songs in the studio, do certain things that are like that I should probably do more of. I should be in the studio more than I'm on the street. Then I would have 100 songs versus 100, street shows. And this year it's proven to work because I've had my first ever viral songs, which make money on the internet and draw all different kinds of, opportunities. And that's like something I'm interested in. So you have to be in the studio more to produce those things.
Yeah.
Well, I like what you're formulating is the fact that you're keeping your audience engaged. I
Mhm.
was listening to an interview not too long ago by a guy by the name of well, he was formerly known as Scott Albert. He's now better known under the identity as Clayton of a musical project called Cell Dweller, where instead of releasing an album, he started releasing two songs at a time, which he would call chapters. Because you can agree, the methodology regarding selling music has changed exponentially courtesy of streaming, which is a good thing and it is a bad thing as well. But you are ultimately in charge of the content, and you immediately, with the what is the word that I could use, with the spreading of your content through social media and the like, you automatically take your audience with you on that journey, and you already have an audience locked in, which is a lesson I've started to learn with what I'm doing in my personal life, or in my professional life, I should rather say, and Danny vice versa. But I have to add something in here as well, and help me right, Rami. You have a particularly interesting niche in that you've now incorporated comedy into your lyrics, and you also do comedy separately from your rap music. Am I right
Yes.
in that summation, or
Mhm.
where did I go wrong?
You are right. You are correct, sir.
Because I'm starting to study comedy myself as well. I just recently did a correspondence course with a gentleman by the name of Chester Sky, and I love stand up comedy for the exhilaration of it. I love the fact that you can bring ideas across in a creative manner. There's so many styles, and I mean, you have one, I have one, um, Amy Schumer has one, Nikki Glazer has one, George Carlin certainly had one of his own. How about did
Mhm.
you decide to start writing humor and then ultimately incorporating it into your beats, or into your rhymes, I should
Well,
say?
I mean, my music has always been sort of, lighthearted, a lot of stuff to deal with darker issues. I call it user friendly rap. Um, then because I got on a TV show called Wild and Out, I started using that opportunity to get on comedy shows and just working that. And now I'm getting hired for these sort of mixed genre shows and comedy shows. And I think like yesterday, I just played in New Orleans and I did comedy.
Nice.
I did pretty much a music set, but it was like mixed with some comedy. Um, and then I assume that, I'm creating this perfect show that's a mix of comedy and game and music and song that's a little bit longer. And, I played with a cast member from SNL. And,
Oh, nice. Which one?
his name's Luke Knoll. He was only on one season, a few seasons back, but, we were sharing, tidbits from SNL to Wild 'N Out. And, it's this great opportunity where you get booked and people use the fact that we have this major credit to draw people in to come see us, and that's a gift. And, somebody says, hey, you want to play tomorrow? Sure. I'm in New York. Here's, we could pay you. I mean, that's sort of like, for me, I was like, wow, this is like a huge opportunity that it's like I struck gold and didn't even know I was on this treasure hunt. And comedy, people love hip hop music. I just played New York Comedy Festival in a rap battle, which went really, really, really well at Caroline's. And for me, I used to do rap battles, and it was like the perfect mesh of worlds because it's like, it was different than a regular rap battle. There's a lot more comedy involved in it. And there were comedians battling, and then there were real rappers battling who were also comics. And for me, I'm always looking at like, how can I challenge myself? What can I do that I'm scared of? And now I'm starting to go up and do comedy with way less fear than I originally had. For me, that, falls back on rapping, but the confidence to just get up and wing some jokes due to the crowd is really fun, and I'm like working out jokes in different cities. And the other night I came up with a nice sequence that I thought was really great. And I was like, wow,
Share
this is
it.
like,
I'd love to hear it.
I was just doing something on like, I don't really think it's suiting to do the podcast, but like it was something.
We're uncensored. You can say whatever it is you please.
Oh yeah. No, it was just something. It was like, I don't know. I said something about like Leonardo DiCaprio because it was his birthday, and I watched the movie Basketball Diaries, which is like all about drug addiction.
Oh my God, that was when I was dating him. Basketball Diary years.
Yeah. Wait, you dated Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to ask the same thing.
Let's diss that mother.
That's fucking crazy. What? Okay, so yeah, that was just like a really great time. It was like, it was Marky Mark was in there, and he was like still like flawlessly like working out and sculpted, and like then there were just all these things. And Leonardo DiCaprio has been dating like 24-year-olds since like then, and like consistently. And I somehow it just, whatever I was talking about really landed, and there was just crazy appearances, and now like Michael Rappaport was in there. And I just linked up with Michael Rappaport, who's awesome. So
I love him.
It was awesome. I don't know how it got in there into the set, something about Leonardo DiCaprio and Basketball Diaries. And it just kind of worked, whatever I did, which I have it on film. But like, I would be afraid to do certain things like that because I don't really, once you stop caring and you're like, all right, I will just see how this crowd is. And then it sort of just works. And I think, related to recovery, when you hold back certain things you want to share because certain people are in the room, that's sort of like just not really having fear of gut level honesty and just, risk taking. And that just comes, I think, for better in life and performance and in every aspect.
These days, yes. I mean, you really, everything is on the spot reality. I mean, it's not like most things are scripted. And so if you have that fear, it's hard to be successful, and especially at what you do or what you're trying to do. So I think you not having this fear, you're really hitting it hard, and you're landing shit, which is really cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
I've been watching you. That's pretty awesome.
Well,
So you have a kind of a funny story though about how you got in sobriety. I was watching your reels on Instagram. Isn't there something funny about the beginning of how you got sober? Or is it kind of a...
Well, I mean, I was just running away from the police. So, I mean, and like, I really wanted to go back to meetings, but the irony was that like I was like I need to either get arrested or go back to meetings, and then I guess like drug addicts, like I mean not even drug addicts, but like I threw away like a lot of these drugs in my pocket, and then people picked it up, and maybe I ended up going to prison, and I thought that was really 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 awesome opportunity for me to just that was the story. That's kind of how I got in. I don't know if that was funny or not, but maybe maybe we're talking about a different part. But that was for sure a moment where that was my life.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's all kind of funny because no one really believed. I was selling cemetery plots door to door at that point in my life. So
Interesting.
Were you selling cemetery plots?
Mm-hmm. A great job at selling them, but
plan for the year after. Buy from me and get a discount.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So what was your route to recovery? Did you go to rehab? Did you follow a 12-step meeting?
Yeah.
How did you go about it?
I was in rehab, 3-quarter houses called the Oxford House, probation, parole. I mean, at different times I had to go to meetings to get meeting lists signed. But once I was sort of in, I was nonstop. So for me, I really, really, really think that was the most important part, was that, I had this stuff hanging over my head. So it was sort of like required. And I was at that time cool. Like I felt like it was some street cred, and I was really obsessed with street credibility and notoriety.
I see.
That was really what I measured my value as a person, just by like that I wasn't a full addict, I think. It was more like I was addicted to the lifestyle and the drug dealing and thing. But, I was just an addict, you know what I'm saying? I think, but it just definitely kept me in that circle and, smoking Newports and drinking coffee and just kind of going to meetings and staying out of jail and taking urine tests. And that was like, cool to me. So, and just building up on my community, it was just really nice. Making music, I was just writing music and doing that. And that was sort of my path, that was for me, that was my path. And seeing how it operated in my life, and then slowly but surely, performing and releasing music and getting these like minor successes, which were really major, just like, hey, I met this person, I got this gig, I won this battle, that was that.
I feel like you're on the verge of something pretty big. I was a personal manager for a lot of years with Jay Bernstein, and I watch you, and I feel like you're really on the verge of something really big, and I hope that for you. And 18 years of sobriety, I'm 16 years, and good things happen. We just keep showing up, the rooms, that's my foundation, and as long as we're showing up, the good things happen.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of showing up. I mean, some of my biggest successes this year have been from just showing up. When it's raining, when it's snowing, you still go. You go to the gym, you go outside, and it's very like a New York mentality. But I've recently gone back to meetings more intensely with a lot of intent and with the physical meetings, and it's really been helpful to me. I was kind of like just burnt out from any sort of Zoom or wanting to do stuff, feeling very addicted to social media, and at certain times, like in recovery, different things come to play, including new addictions, and definitely the social stuff and the likes and the I mean, like it readapts itself, because I remember getting sober, and then there was like MySpace, and I had to get off MySpace because I was manipulating that into something really negative. I'm trying to prop up my phone the best way, so sorry if it falls a little bit. And and this is where I'm at now. But
So
I'm really big on recovery stuff. Like for me, I wouldn't have anything I have without recovery. So I find it odd that I could complain about anything really, because I
yeah,
really wasn't able to put anything together. Although it was just a blink of an eye. 18 years ago, it was a blink of an eye. Blink of an eye. You know what I mean?
it was. It is.
Mm.
Like I talked to my friend today, and she's like, "Man, we've known each other for 10 years," and I'm like, "Yep, I remember when we were, when we met." So that was just 10 years ago. So and
So
that's a
real quick,
long, long time.
the marathon. You're a marathon runner as well, and I know the
Mhm.
physical, like running, really helps with depression and, really
Oh yeah,
helps just with your mood. And how has that been, becoming a marathon runner?
I've run 4 marathons. It's amazing.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and I
Jeez.
love them. I was just thinking about doing another one. Like I was just like, but
You're determined.
It's amazing.
yeah, I really like I was just thinking like, oh, I want to do the Tokyo Marathon or London Marathon, and yeah, maybe I'll do the Tokyo one. And I just looked it up right now, March 6th. I was thinking, or I think it's around that time. And for me, it's a great way to see a city. It's just like,
Oh yeah, taking the sights, the whole spiel.
yeah, just get out there and you go run.
But you can obviously
Um,
run it as a private citizen and not under your public persona.
Yeah, I run it as I post it on my regular page, but I just sign up or ran the New York Marathon as Rami Koshadillz Even-esh. I just put it up there because I don't know, I was running for something and but that's it. Like what a great way to see places and what a great like I raised money for Holocaust survivors, which is really big for me. I was
Oh
just buying.
sure.
So I was just buying my way into marathons, and then I was like, oh, I'll just run. So for me, like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Easy peasy. It's a great way to travel for me, and then I could do music, and it's just like something I'm into.
And
So,
Idris Elba does exactly the same.
who'd you say?
I said
Idris
Idris
Elba?
Elba does exactly the same. Whenever he's on location shooting, he takes a MIDI controller with him, and if it's not his turn to shoot, he'll sit in his trailer and just toy around with a couple of beats, and maybe he's got an idea, or he'll even remix some of his own songs. That is productivity at its finest, because I get the idea of an artist's mind. If you're on location or you're busy prepping for a concert, insert idea. There's a certain amount of downtime before you get to the sound check stage. So you got to be
Mhm.
productive in order to keep those creative juices flowing consistently. And you're the artist's artist in that manner. That at least you come prepared, and you can get a new idea down for the next possible moment. I said to a friend of mine, as a matter of fact, today, that if you want to create a brand today using technology, prolificity is key, because through that prolificity you get practice and you
Right.
get your notoriety around these days. And it seems like you fall under that category as well.
Mm.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's like a necessity. For other people, to me, to them, it's like, hey, it's inspiring, and I'm like, wow, it's really cool. But it's still also a little bit awkward for me on occasion when people are like so inspired. But you know, I'm
So
like, well, is this something I'm doing? I can't believe I ran 4 marathons because I ran 3 within a year. Like I did the one, and then I was like, okay, I'll do this Brooklyn one. Then I'll do, I did the LA one because I guess because of COVID, it was like November. Then I did April, and then I did another one in November. So poof, you know what I mean?
You've
That's
got
3.
endurance, my friend.
yeah,
You've got
get on,
endurance.
get the next one.
But in reality is I could run another one this weekend because I'm physically fine, and I just did one last week, and I'm just physically fine. I did one 8 days ago, but it physically you're like, okay, let's go. And until I do feel different, I mean, I like it. I'm just like, for me, pushing myself physically is very important. I just hit 40, 41, so it's like,
No way. 41. You don't look
yeah,
it.
so
You look 20 years old
yeah,
with 21 years experience.
yeah. That's crazy.
So we're running out of time here, but I want to talk real quick about the Kanye diss. Of course, right?
Yeah, please.
So, yeah, I mean, what obviously, it's disturbing some of the things that are said all the time, and you created a rap around it to kind of respond to what Ye was, putting out there, and I think it's great that you said something. You did something.
Yeah, I think big thing for me, obviously is like a big thing I've learned just through recovery, is like, before I really didn't care about anything. Now that I have some sobriety and like there's other interests I have,
Mhm.
I always find it interesting when people get really involved in politics, yet they were like, smoking crack or just like addicted to and all of a sudden they have these opinions. But for me, a big part of my thing was like I really didn't want anything to do with my identity as much. I was kind of bummed out about it, and then I sort of just kind of fell into it through creativity, through music, and the name Koshadillz. And this was, from touring with other Jewish artists like Modest Yahoo to playing
Oh
around the
my
world
God,
and
I
just
love.
yeah,
Midas Yahoo, I've heard him perform with POD.
yeah.
Oh,
hmm
my
And
favorite.
that's awesome. So I thought now that I'm on the show Wild and Out, I'm like, and this certain things happen, and I saw them together. I said, I got to do something. Let me just do it and put it out. And some of my best work is like very, like, boom, do it tomorrow. Boom, put it out. There we go.
Hmm.
And that's a way to get people talking and to really detach myself from the personal attachment of what people are going to say about it to the creativity of it.
Clever.
And
How do you do it?
um, well, the thing is that there were probably between TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook over 10,000 comments. Yet realizing that no one has said anything to me in real life from those comment sections. Like no one's actually come up to me on the street and said anything. So I don't have to take on this stuff that's online because it's in this invisible space, that's not physical and real. And for me, that's really helpful. Sort of like you could think about anything, you could have horrible thoughts, but if you don't do any of the stuff in your mind, it's really not bad. I mean, you could think about doing drugs, you think about drinking, you think about robbing a bank, but as long as you didn't rob a bank, you're just another person that had these thoughts. For me,
Yeah.
because Kanye is a rapper, and I've listened to Kanye, and I know people that work with them, and I was like, I'm going to respond. This makes sense for me, and that was it. You put it out, and it's going to do what it's going to do, and like that. So I felt really strong about it. It's called DeathCon 3. If anyone's interested to check it out, I'm sure you guys will post links, and I have it in my Instagram, on my pinned, and in my YouTube. You can check it out. It's in my bio. And that's it, I put it, and that's like one thing I'm doing. And, people say, well, why don't you diss this guy too? And now everyone wants me to diss everybody. And it's just like not what I'm interested in. But I felt called to do it at that time.
Yeah.
And, and on to the next thing, on to the
Right.
next. And I have plenty of other stuff that has nothing to do with Jewish stuff, has stuff to do with Jewish things. I have Hanukkah holiday songs and comedy and all that. And that's exactly what I'm interested in doing. And I'm going to do it because I work for myself and I get to do what I want, on most
Yeah.
occasions, on most occasions. Everyone has a wedding gig, everyone has to do certain things they don't want to, even Kanye, depending on. Now, what I mean is a wedding gig is that you have to do something that you don't want to do. Because a musician's like worst nightmare is the wedding gig, But
I'm gonna
I
have
mean, that's what it is.
Koshadillz come to my wedding. No, I'm
Yeah,
teasing. I
no.
know you were.
But
You
the
didn't
thing is,
mean it
I
that way.
enjoy. I I need to express this. I enjoy the wedding gig. I enjoy all gigs. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's the
As do
thing
I when I DJ.
where when you go and you do specific, kinds of reactions and responses, you know, that's just another thing. What's going to happen? What could technically happen that I haven't done worse? I've had way worse things happen. I was you know what I mean? I was selling drugs, running for police. I'm an addict, in recovery. So the stuff I did before, I mean, it's like a dream. Like what a privilege that you have the ability to do something, turn it around, put it out, and everyone could judge it, and it gets you on Good Morning Britain, and it gets you in Jerusalem Post, and just all over, in Unilad, and that's it. It went
Yeah,
everywhere.
and you did a Nightline and some other stuff.
Yeah, and it's I'm in a Nightline. I'm on Hulu. The music video is on Hulu right now, and you could watch it on
Wow.
ABC Nightline for on ABC Nightline. It's in that it's called Yay, It All Falls Down. Go to ABC Nightline on Hulu. You can watch it, and to me that's crazy. That was like in 2.5 weeks that happened. So to think that I created that by myself with no one else helping shows that I could do a lot. If that's something I could do, really anything I want to do, honestly.
And that's
inspiring from someone who couldn't do anything he wanted to being able to be there. That's really cool.
Reach for
one
a
of the
dream.
things that is great to know about you, because we don't know you, but I look at your Instagram. You don't really know a person, but from what I'm getting out of you is that you are fearless, and that is something that is very difficult to achieve. And through 18 years of sobriety, showing up every time and not, just showing up and taking control and doing it anyway has really worked for you. And that's really inspiring for me. And I can't thank you enough for coming on the show.
I second.
And, we wish you all the success in the world, and we'll be watching.
And all the
Will this
blessed.
show be available, and that way we can share it afterwards?
Of course,
Perfect.
I was about to say this. Folks, if you missed out on the live stream, you can catch this up on demand on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify and all where you ever can, and everywhere else where you get your podcasts. A great thank you to Koshadillz, aka Rami Matan. Thank you for helping me write with your identity.
Yes,
All the blessed, brother. It was.
I wanted to
it's
say
Christian, by the way, like Christian Grey.
Yeah. I want to say, if anyone wants to reach out, everything's just on my socials. It's Koshadillz, KOSHADILLZ. And I have a text line where you could text 732-335-7573. That's like my friend line through community. And I'm interested always to connect on recovery. And I'll tell you a quick story. The other day I did a show, and I need to do a recovery joke. That way people know I'm in recovery. And because I wanted to go to a meeting out in New Orleans. If someone else told me, I asked somebody, and someone connected me with someone, and I went to a meeting out there. And that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited when you're like on the road and you need a home away from home. And this is like what I'm trying to do. It's like, that's just like stuff I enjoy to do is travel and know that people that have done the same thing that I've done, to improve their life and get another step, and you meet somebody else and you shake a hand and get on with your day. But, we're touching lives, whether we're performing or just in our daily life. And that's how I really want to bring that same energy into all my creative stuff, into my personal relationships. And it just proves to be known that the more you show up for your recovery, everything else really falls into place for me. And when I don't do that, everything kind of falls apart, even with a lot of time. And the worst feeling you could have is having a lot of sober time and not being, clean. You know what I mean? It's like the horrible feeling, because you're being on your way out. Then there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of woulda, shoulda, coulda. There's a lot of shame, because you're supposed to. I'm not like an ex-convict really anymore, even though I am. But like, that's sort of, I'm not fresh out of jail and just, living in a 3-quarter house or a halfway house anymore.
No, not at all. In fact, it looks like you've got a nice little condo there.
Thank you.
There we go, Rami. Look after yourself.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
And thank you to those who have tuned in.
Good night. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Goodbye, everyone. This has been Doing It Sober Live, and we'll see you again soon. Peace.
Doing it sober.